Hello YouTube, my name's John. I live in a little village down in Devon. I just thought I'd give you a quick tour of how I get the internet and provide it to some of my neighbours as well. So I thought the best thing to do would be to start up here on top of the hill, where I've got a little post or mast or whatever you want to call it, with a 5 GHz point-to-point link, which links me down into a little village that's actually got fibre to the cabinet. Now we only have we get about 4.5, 5 meg at the best of times in our village, because we're on the end of some very long exchange lines. So I've come up with this solution. A little bit overkill perhaps, and you could do it other ways, but I like a bit of cable sometimes and minimise wireless. So let's go a bit closer. You can see here I've got this. This is a Mimosa B5 Lite device up here. So there's brambles I've got to step through. And it's on about a 4-metre pole and a little cabinet at the bottom with a key. There we go, you can see inside. So what's in here? How's it powered? Where does the data go? So coming up from the centre, you've got there's a 40mm duct that comes in from the chamber next door. The power is 2.5mm reinforced armoured cable around into the RCD just here, goes through a meter, splits out. One feed goes into this 24-volt power supply, which goes into the relay here. So when the power supply is on, the relay clicks in and takes power from the power supply and feeds it into this media converter, which does PoE. It's a Planet device. Really good, really like their stuff. So that's got an SFP module in it, a 1310nm single mode, which then and then the Cat6 I think cable that goes up to the device at the top. So also this relay here, whilst the power supply is on, it also switches these two batteries. It's a pair of 12 volts wired so that they're 24 volts. It switches those over to this battery charger here. So that's also fed by the main supply. So when the main supply is on and the 24 volt power supply here is working, this battery charger charges the batteries, this power supply powers the media converter. If the mains fails, the relay disengages and the contacts switch over so that the batteries are then connected straight through to the media converter. So there's a little bit of like a second or two delay, so it will reset or restart, but it gives a good 12 hours of supply to the radio and media converter. Really happy with that. I am looking into other ways of doing it without the relay, just so that it's instant. And the media converter does have 2 power supply inputs, but I'd rather keep the batteries away from it until they're needed. So there, the bolts in the bottom here, they screw into the sides of this pole. There's bolts welded onto the side. They screw in and then you do the nuts up. They're either side, so you can use those to climb up to the top. You don't need to bring a ladder up here each time you come. I'll just keep those up here because I don't need them anywhere else. So we've got this white cable here. This is a duplex fibre with an LC, so it's a single mode with LCs on the end. It goes down the tube as well. What else comes up the tube? The Ethernet cable and an earth cable that goes up to the top as well. Right, so that's the active components in there. Let's have a look in this chamber. So tricky to do this one-handed. I have already had it off this morning. I want to make sure there's nothing living in there. Hang on. Okay, so this is the chamber here. So I've got my drawstring there, which goes off down the hill. I've got these 2 ducts. This one here goes up into the cabinet, and then this one behind it goes into the base. There's an earthing strap there on it as well, with an earth to that as well. And round the corner you can see there's just a little access panel, so you can get to that in there. But the main beef in here is the fibre closure. So I'll get that out and have a look inside it. Okay, so these fibre closures, I've got a load of them. I must have about 25 of these. I got them in a bulk of other stuff for 200 quid. So I got 25 of these, about 30 in line splice closures, all sorts of other stuff. I think somebody was renting a barn and they did a runner and left all this stuff behind, and the barn owner just basically sold it to me for that. It was a fantastic deal. I've used so much with all these cable lock glands as well. It's brilliant. Right, so these come apart quite straightforward. Well, it's certainly easy to do it two-handed. It's just a spring here. It comes off there. Hang on, let's do that. Okay, so it splits apart like that. Probably could do with a tripod, really. Oops. So you've got that there. There we go. So here's our fibre splice closure. So in the back, you've got some spare, both the tubes that come up. So I've got a 12 core coming in on the back port here. That's a 12 core, just a loose tube that goes down the duct down the hill. And then here is a 2 core that goes into the cabinet. It's just a tight buffed. So they both have white tubes inside, and they both go into the bottom tray. So let's open up this tray here. Let's come down this side as well. So we'll take off this Velcro strap. It has this neat little handy tool, so we can use that to prop the trays open. So these trays are the sort that BT would use as well, and I think, looking at it, they're about 400 quid each, which is amazing. So here we go. So we've got the 12 fibres coming up from the hill. Only 2 of them are spliced at the moment, and they splice through into the cabinet up here. So the plan will be eventually to carry on up this path to a couple of farms and provide some service up there. That's where we're getting our service from, the village down there. Just about to see that. Yeah, these splice closures are really good. Can't believe how well they came out. Excellent. Let's put that back. We'll put that back down in the hole. Right, so that's reassembled there. Now, just before we go on, this manhole, or hand hole, as it's properly called, is sorry about the focus. Is 2 150mm high cast rings, which I've just made a form up and cast some concrete in. Brought them up here, dug a hole, dropped some lye fabric in the bottom, and a couple of bags of limestone chippings. Then dropped the rings in, backfilled it, stick them all together, put a lid on it, and yeah, they're working really well. I've made a few of them. I must have 4 or 5 so far, and got happy with them. So they just about take those. They fit in there quite nicely. Just getting a little bit full of muck. Yeah, so there's that's the start of a 1550 odd metre run of fibre and power that goes down the hill. There's the power cable there. It's a bit. That's the tricky bit to install, to be honest. The fibre's nice and light, but the power cable is seriously heavy. Hello again. So here we are at the second handhold down. So the first one is at the mast. The second one is down on the corner of the field, or not the field, the woodland. And the third one, this will be the third one. by a track where the tube goes across as well once it's come through. So I've opened this one so I can do it one-handed. Right, this off, exactly the same construction as the previous one. There's actually, so the one tube on the left there comes in from where the cable is going. Well, sorry, let's start again. On the right there's two. There's an empty one, which is just a spare because I want to go up to some houses in the future. And the one with the cables going in goes on up to the mast through the next handhold. So on the left, that's where we're following it. In here is another, just a joint, exactly the same. Two cables in. They join in the joint box. But also here there's a mains join on the mains cable, which is a resin filled for the armoured cable. But yeah, nothing fancy in this one. Some pull rope as well, which is running through. Yeah, not much to see here. So again, sorry about the noise, but this is where the tube that we just saw, it's a bit dark in here, I've got no light, comes in. So comes in, cables run up the wall there and through. Now there's also that top black cable which runs along the top there, also comes in down the centre and out. That's where that black cable comes in as well. So that's the next run that we'll have a look at. But in here, let's turn the light off. In here is where all the magic happens. So the cable's coming through the wall into the rack. So what's in the rack? Squeaky, squeaky, squeaky. So start off by saying this is the power feed to the mast. 1 amp fuse in there, which is an RCD. Everything but the mast runs through this APC UPS, which is network managed, so it can send me an alert if the power fails. I can check the temperature of the cabinet, for example. So then we've got a lot of fibre management up here. Again, we've got a 24 port patch panel, single mode, with these first two cores. All these 12 here go with that fibre we've just been looking at. They all go up there. Then there's another 8 here, which go up to the farmer who's building. Okay, then we've got the second cable, the big cable I just showed you. These are tubes that come off that, so they go up a driveway. We'll come to that in a minute. Cable management, and then there's a pond splitter here, so we have an input and 32 possible outputs. Got a level 1 GSW 2946 gigabit switch. So this has 8 gigabit copper ports and 16 SFP slots, just SFP, not SFP plus. So I really like this switch. It's quite simple. It's not big frills, but it's got everything. It's got VLANing. It's all managed. It's never given me any trouble. More cable management next down, and then we've got a Huawei MA5606T. So this is a GPON OLT, optical lines, OLT, yeah, OLT, one of them. So in here we have our feed from the switch. So well, actually, let's carry on. There's a redundant 48 volt power supply for the OLT there, and then we have it's an Alex 3D board, which I will come to in a second, and some spare cables. And then there's room here that I'm going to put a group of servers that do VoIP, so asterisk and DHCP. So how does it work? So we've got our two feeds, our transmit receive coming from the mast. They go into the switch onto VLAN 10. Coming out of that VLAN 10, we go into the Alex board, which is running a version of Zero Shell, which is creating a VPN bridge to a server in a data center, so that I can, on this bridged side, I can access the IPs in the data center. Also, I've got a second router, which we'll see in a little bit, which it can fail over onto. So it can fail over but retain the same IPs effectively. And it means everybody that's on it has a static IP, so I don't need to worry about any regulatory, just sharing one IP between multiple households. So the internet connection comes out of there back into the switch on VLAN 200, which then is trunked to the OLT through this SFP. Now the the OLT has a management connection up to the switch as well on VLAN 100, and it's got 4 PON ports which can support, I think, up to 128 users on each one. So I'm only using the one. That PON port goes up to our PON splitter input. This particular splitter, which I've created, I had to splice all of these on, has 2 inputs, so you can fail over as well, but we're not using that. And then there's just, as you can see, there's just 5, where are we there? There's just 5 devices connected at the moment, and they go up to there. For my particular use, going into my house, I have an extra pair, so I've got 3 connections into here, which also go into the switch, so I can trunk all of the VLANs up to the switch, up to my own switch, just for management, make it easier. But really, it's quite quite simple. When it's in focus, you can see it. It's not too bad. Don't worry about the stains. That's been fixed. So let's follow that. Let's follow the. So we know where this one goes. This one just goes to the farm. Let's follow these 2, which are in the same cable. It's a 96 core cable I bought for £40, 800 metres of it for 40 quid, a bargain. That's quite nice. So just as we're walking up here, I thought I'd show you a trailer I made. This is the reel of cable I bought for £45, I think. There's a bit of a problem getting it around because of the slight issue with the side of the drum, but never mind, it's alright, it's doing good. So there's the where's the brand, where is it? Oh, there you go. So it's XL 205312. This is a loose tube 96 core. So yeah, I created the trailer all by myself. It's all welded up. It's got a little winch on the front. This rusty section pivots down here, so you can drop this. This will drop down. So this will drop down, and this back section swings open, so you can reverse or push the trailer up to the roller cable, slide the pole through. At the moment you just have to strap it on. I haven't sorted anything with that yet. And then you winch it down, which pulls it up, and then you just tie it down. There's a little bit of a slapdash at the moment, but it's carrying some very heavy cables around this farm area, which is great. I love it. I'm really proud of it. So where were we? So with the cable that we saw coming up comes into this handhold here. It's really exactly the same as you've already seen, except for there's a little 20mm pipe which goes off under the road here and feeds a property behind there. Then it runs all the way along here. This is put in by the farmer who's putting some power cables in, so we took the opportunity to do it at the same time. So there you go, you can see the duct just in there. isn't it? It's up here. So again, another handhold here. Got some dead leaves on this one. So in this one again, another fibre splice chamber closure. There's the an in tube just there. That's the fibre coming in, and then there's another tube in this that doesn't have anything that goes out. That's the future. So then this red one with the red cap goes to a property that doesn't have a service at the moment, and below it there's this cable here goes off to a property, or it goes to several properties. There's a splice point up in the driveway. I won't go up there now, but yeah, it feeds 3 houses at the moment, one of which is mine. So we'll go into mine and I'll show you the end connection. Okay, so here we are in the property. This is the standard sort of wall box I've been putting in. On the normal installs, you just have this single mode connection just to go to the GPON ONT. As I said down in the barn, I've also got this extra duplex cable. Ignore this one. That's just a temporary one. So the cable there will come into the ONT, which is I've been using Huawei HG8245. This is an old Chinese telecom unit. I've just been testing because I can get them quite inexpensively, which is still very nice. So we've got the fibre in, then it's got four gigabit ports on the back and 2 SIP telephone ports which you can configure independently, power and 12-volt input. It's got Wi-Fi on this model, which is only 2.4 gigs, but it's reasonable. It's good. It works. For a lot of the properties around this area, you need to put a Wi-Fi extender in, or like a power line Wi-Fi extender, because they have such thick walls. So that's the ONT. They work really well. I would say I'm happy with those. I'm happy with everything. In this rack, we've got this the switch here, where the fibre comes in to the back from that switch down in the barn. There's power into here, and then there's various connections into there. I've got two servers here. I'm just looking after. One of them needs to move down. So one on the left it's just a personal server which runs some TV and bits and pieces that I like to play with. On the right is the VoIP. It's a Zen server. So it's got a Zen server on it with VMs running, FreeBSD with DHCP and Asterisk on them. Yes, so the idea is to scale that up to make it a bit more resilient at some point. Then I did have two lines into this property originally, just whilst I was testing the bonding. Focus. So these are Cisco 800 series routers, ADSL. Just got the one now, which is used as failover, which is it's only 5-6 meg at the best, but it's okay as a backup. Better to have something than nothing. And then there's a 3. The telephone company 3 in the UK, they have a femtocell, because again, being in a village, there's absolutely no signal, and a PDU power bar underneath that, and then there's a 13 amp power bar behind that. UPS again, network monitored, and some skanky old spare switches. So where are we? So I've got the HG8245 loaded up here, and you can see we've got the Internet VLAN 200. There's a VoIP VLAN 400, and I've also got 500, which is a bridged VLAN on here. So these two are routed on here. Let's go up. So on the wireless LAN, that 500 is so that I can offer a public Wi-Fi service like BT do, which isn't affecting your upload or download speed. It's completely separate. And so the box broadcasts to SSIDs, and still need to set this up, but it's available on the routers broadcasting. It's a separate service which gets trunked down separately to your main one, and then you have your own personal Wi-Fi. There you go. That's my key. I'll change that. Yeah, but they're good little boxes. You can buy the Chinese telecom ones and hack them about a bit to put the default firmware on, and they're a very good, cheap way of getting GPON ONT. So there you go. That's the network tour.